animation stuff. I don't use Procreate because Procreate's color fill and selection tool options are complete garbage. I love Procreate. I am the biggest Procreate stan, but they need to work on some things, and in particular, they need to work on improving their autofill feature and their lasso tool feature. If they can do that better, I will tell you now, I would use Procreate for everything in my animation workflow. Unfortunately, they don't have that on lock. So anyways, now that we've kind of gone over all of that stuff, right? We've gone over all the little things. The next thing now is really just to apply all of these aspects to our design. Now, there's a couple of things here that I will call out. So first of all, I usually hide all. I see all these young folks. Oh man, these kids are too good. What the hell? I need to get to that level, right? Is 21 old? It might be. I mean, it's just however you feel about it. But you know, I used to have this feeling all the time, and that for me was the biggest stopper because I kept thinking in my head that it was too late for me. But here's the thing, man. Again, that's all the mentality talking. That's all the you comparing yourself to other people. And once I realized, hear me out, once I realized that I was so focused, again, on trying to do art for other people, that it stopped me. And once I realized, hey, wait a minute, what if I just do art for me? Who cares if I'm 58, 60 years old? I'm not actually, but you know what I mean. Being a junior artist in the industry doesn't mean that you have junior level skills. It means that you have mid-tier level skills as a professional. You just don't know how the industry works. But no joke, any studio that will hire you, they're hiring you because they already see that you can do the work. Now they just have to train you to understand the process, the pipeline, or so they say. That's actually very true. That's a good call out, good message right there. Right? When people think, oh, entry-level art job, perfect. I can do it. Even though I just started drawing. I'm just a beginner. Like, no. Entry level is you're good, kid. You just need to know the ways of the industry. Somebody in my YouTube comments the other day typed a similar message where they said, Kaycem, how do I get jobs as a beginner artist? Come on, bro. If you're a beginner,
Hello? Do I sound normal to you guys? Hey, welcome back in to another stream. Lo and behold, we've got here a Tuesday stream. Let's get this one started. Bada bing, bada boom.
Hey, yo, there you go. Welcome back in, everyone, to the Kaycem crew. It is your boy, Kaycem, and we are here. It is another day to stream, a study stream on a Tuesday. As you guys know, these streams are a little bit more on the relaxed side. They're a little bit more on the chill side. Of course, we still got some educational content, as always, and we've got my dog. He's on his bed? Oh, he's not on his bed, but he's here. He's here. Nice haircut. I did not get a haircut. My hair is just, I just conditioned and shampoo yesterday. So all of that, all the natural oils are gone. But yeah, no, thank you, I guess. Let me go ahead and see real quick. What do we got going on here? Before I go ahead and read all the messages in the chat, let's go and type out where you guys are watching from. Type a T if you're watching me from Twitch. Type a good old Y if you're watching me horizontally on YouTube, and type a good old V. Some of you already know this. Type a V if you're watching me vertically on YouTube. But in the meantime, let me go ahead and see who was here today. We got here Hedgie. Congratulations, Hedgie, for claiming first on the stream. Let's go. Boom. Good stuff. Also got Jillene here, Junamaru, Greggy Check, Cool Side, QDEDEQ for the first time. Glad to have you here. We got here Cryptic Nova, Reb Scribbles. How's it going? J-Jack Draws, Soul Mint, Tal39, Bionic Maestro, Wong C, a bunch of other people. Let's go ahead and check out the YouTube side real quick because YouTube's also popping off. I don't know if you guys know this. You probably don't know this. But last stream Saturday, I think, was the highest amount of viewers that I had on the YouTube side. So it's kind of crazy to think that there might come a point where you guys are going to be neck and neck. YouTube viewers and Twitch viewers will be battling it out to see which of you there are more of. Whoa. Who would have ever thought that day would come? You know what I'm saying? But let's go ahead and see what's happening on the YouTube side. We got here Moscow, Warley Arts, Zari. We got Dragon, Starlight, Lee Ho, Spirit and Such, Ives Art, Zari again, Space Cats, and a bunch of other people too. Granddad and Mai. A lot of people typing in Y's and V's out here, so it's always dope to see the variety of viewership out here. Hopefully I can do my best to read all the messages in the chat and stuff because, you know, it is a little hectic out here. It gets a little crazy. First stream I cashed. Excited to see everything live. Beacombe, thank you for tuning in live. I personally think that the content is better live because if you think about it, it's the same content, right? The VODs and the videos saved just are my live streams. The main difference is now you can actually chat with me live and even ask me questions and all that good stuff. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of more fun, I think, in doing it live out here. But anyways, let's actually get started on today's stream because as you guys know, we got a shorter time frame on Tuesdays, always shorter time frame. So we really got to jump in on this one. Today, we're going to be doing some fun stuff. Actually, we're going to be looking at some face expressions. And in particular, I wanted to pull out some anime ones because I was really intrigued by how certain animes, you know, portray expression with their characters. And so we have here a few different examples, and we're going to be looking at some of them today, maybe even doing some draw overs and some studies. And if you guys want to follow along on today's stream, because maybe you guys are also interested in expressions and you're like, hey, Kaycem, I want to get better at drawing expressions, make sure to join the Discord channel. Hop over right here. If you guys type in !Discord, all right. I think on the YouTube side, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Hopefully it works this time. If you guys type in !Discord, you guys should be able to get a link here to join the Discord channel where you can grab some of the resources from today's stream. Like for example, today's worksheet. So that's going to be here for you guys to grab as reference and all that good stuff. We have here one of my head sheets. This one right here is going to go over some of the breakdowns of the form of the head, how to think about the different mask components of the head, as well as some of the facial features. These will come in handy today as we actually talk a little bit more about how the mouth, nose, and eyes all kind of relate together when creating expressions, right? So make sure to grab that one. And then here's another example here of just some of the different types of face expressions your character might have and how those expressions will alter the face. So I highly recommend you grab these sheets. They are available to grab, but they're only available when I am live. All right, when I'm live here on stream. They will be gone after the stream. I've seen so many people join the Discord and they're just like, where is it? Where's this thing? Where is it? I can't find it. It's like, I'm not live. All right. So you gotta go in, you gotta join in for that. And let's see here. Yeah, if you guys like all of these, oh yeah, by the way, the resources are under art resources. All right, so the channel is art resources. Good question there by Nuffin. But if you guys want more resources from me, you guys like what you're seeing here, there are two other ways to grab resources for my streams. One is to actually check out my Gumroad, where you can grab all of my resources from 2022, 2023, and I believe there's over 170 plus worksheets and cheat sheets, just like the ones you're seeing here on my stream. And also, if you want to, you can also join the After School Art Crew, which is my 2024 After School alternative, which will give you additional resources These resources will basically, let me show you guys really quick. Where is that? Somewhere here. Oh, wait, here. I can do it like this. I'll click on it like this. Okay. Whee! My after school art crew, which will basically give you all these additional sheets from 2024, brushes, as well as a critique stream that we actually did this Sunday. It was my first critique stream for the after school art crew. And I will say there were a lot of amazing submissions. Let me just share a few of them on the screen. A lot of great submissions. I gave a lot of good feedback, hopefully, for those of you who are watching. So if you guys want your stuff critiqued by me, or you just want to grab all of the crazy resources I have, like we have tons of resources here. Here are actually some of the draw overs. I can't really zoom in on it, unfortunately. But I have some of the draw overs that I did there. All of these notes, as well as new brushes that are not even available yet on my Gumroad. So if you guys are interested in any of those things, consider either of those two. Otherwise, you're in the right place already watching my streams live here to grab some of those free resources. All right. But there you go. All right. Anyways, do the sheets have a discount anytime on the year? Usually I do discounts, like holiday discounts and stuff. But yeah, I don't usually plan them out. It's kind of just like, hey, I should probably do a thing with the discounts. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like I'm not really good with the whole marketing thing. So I kind of just put it out there. And then on some occasions, if I do remember, we will do something. We'll do something about it. But yeah, let's actually start off with, I think I wanted to do some reference studies from this anime, Great Pretender. I haven't even seen this one myself, but I don't know, it looked kind of cool. So I thought maybe we should do some of that. I don't know Cena. Welcome back in. Or welcome in for the first time. I always don't know who's here for the first time and who's, been here before. So we'll figure things out. But okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to actually pull up the reference like this, so that way you have it on a separate tab here, and I'll put this one away just so we have some more room. But basically today what I wanted to look at was a couple things, right? So first of all, we're looking at maybe the style of whatever it is we're studying, right? In this case here, we're studying kind of that, the anime style. This is that Japanese animation style, and it's going to differ a little bit. It's going to differ a little bit from what I do normally for work, but we will try to do some more here. Also, I read the Discord. I don't think I could do it now, but maybe we will. Here, Panda wants me to post a a Twitch story, so let's go ahead and do that really quick. Twitch story. I have Twitch stories, by the way. Hey, Kaycem, I saw you at Anime Expo. Yeah, you saw me at Anime Expo. Wait, were you the one that was in the booth? We're live now. Okay. But yeah, let's see. Second time here, second time for some of you guys. Yeah, I would love to know, for those of you who are tuning in, whether, it's your first time here or just this week or whatever. I would love to know how you ended up here. What brought you here? Some of you said it's a raid. Some of you met me IRL. Some of you said maybe from YouTube. Genuinely curious to know how you guys found me here. Oh, and speaking of which, really quick, and a quick intro for myself. If you guys are here for the first time, welcome in. My name is Kaycem. I am a Filipino art streamer based out in Los Angeles, California, and I also work professionally in the animation industry, having worked for studios that have done stuff like Castlevania, Legends of Vox Machina, and more. So if you guys are into any of those things, you guys are into free art education, you guys like my dog who is over here, make sure to leave a follow. Okay. So let's talk about the study today. Like, what are the main things I want to look for? I think one, I want to pay attention to, style, because style is going to be something here that we're going to have to look at and just kind of embrace as we're tackling this design. And then the other thing too, obviously, is going to be the expression. And I think we want to pay attention in particular, not only just to trying to copy the expression, but to really try to understand what were the artist's intentions in how they changed the expressions of things like the brows, right? The brows, the eyes, the nose to some degree, but especially the mouth. I think you can really get a lot from an expression just from these three things, and then the nose kind of becomes secondary. But I think more so the eyes, brows, and mouth. So let's take a look at those things. And also this is some character faces that I did. So these are my style right here. And I wanted to show you guys as a reference of what I draw, you know. This is what I draw right here. But we have this reference of this character person. All right, cool. So let's get to it. Maybe we should. Maybe, you know what I'll do? I don't know if I like having it floating around, so I might actually just bring it up like this. And we might just work on it one by one. Yeah, I don't know if I like that reference feature. It's kind of weird. Here, so we'll do it like this. That way we have an easy side by side. I'm trying to join every stream. This is my learning practice. Cool, that's cool. Okay, joining in for the practice. Newer viewer, but only really caught snippets of the streams, but I want to focus more on art, and you are a great resource and source of inspiration. Thank you guys. Wow, so many subs and follows as well too. Much appreciated. Found you through the YouTube shorts. Ah, yes. Good old YouTube shorts, man. All right. Let's get to it. Oh, also, guys, I have here a command. If you guys have any questions and you really, or like questions or messages that you really want me to answer or just hear, I put out here a command for you, !question, so you can read more about it. Consider using text to speech, but otherwise I will do my best to read everything. I'm only putting that out there because I realized last stream that a lot of you were trying to ask me questions, and yeah, it gets really crazy out here sometimes, you know. It gets pretty wild. But let me read a question right now. Kaycem, in animation, I find that facial expressions tend to be very over-exaggerated. How do you feel about micro expressions? Do you think it's useful to learn? I think so. I mean, I think no matter what you're learning, right? You could be studying an anime style. You could be studying realistic photographs. You could be studying abstract expression even, right? I always feel like what's valuable is, you know, trying to understand the artist's intention. And I think as long as you're doing that, I think you'll get some value out of it. But it's really up to you, right? For me, I'm choosing that anime style today because I find that there's some, as you've mentioned, there is a little bit of exaggeration, I think, with the expression. And I kind of like how in the anime style, they do a really good job of simplifying the design so that you can read the expression and get the most out of it with as little detail as possible. Like, I really like that aspect of, I think, the anime style. So that's kind of why I wanted to do some of these studies today, to kind of really practice some of that. Now here I'm just kind of creating the silhouette of the character's face. It doesn't have to be exact. Like, I'm not trying to copy it one to one, but I want to at least get some semblance of likeness of this character, and we'll see if we can do that today, you know, crossing fingers. But yeah. Boom, boom. First time catching you live. Very excited for this one. As someone who struggles in school, learning how to study has definitely been a roadblock. Oh, I feel that. I feel it has been a roadblock. How do you do the question command? Oh, sorry. Here, I think that the bot doesn't work for some reason on my YouTube side, but this was the message. There. Micro expressions are usually pretty important. Yeah, I think, you know, there's expressions of all variety, I think will be very important. Let's see here. Kaycem, I've been loving your content, but notice your older boot camps and a lot of the other videos on Twitch are inaccessible. Will I gain access to them if I subscribe? Some, yes, though I think I've migrated them actually over to, the after school art crew. So that way, not only are you getting access to my older bootcamp videos, you also, you also get access to new resources like brushes and, you know, sheets, as well as critique stuff. So you kind of get more from it, I think, at least. But all right, let's go ahead here. I'm gonna just kind of focus in on this, and let's kind of draw out this character. I'm going to leave the body alone for now. We're just going to kind of maintain this head. And I want to try to place here some of the landmarks that I'm seeing for this character. So whenever I'm trying to draw a head, no matter what style it is, right, there's always usually some sort of consistency in the features, right, in terms of placement, proportions, and all of that. Obviously, certain styles and you know, as you get into the more abstract, will have, you know, variety that will not always follow the rule all the time. But I think understanding kind of for the most part what's going on, I think will be very valuable. So here I just placed where I wanted the eyes to be, and let's take a look at this character expression. Actually, let's do it from maybe this side. So with this first expression, what I really like about it is, one, you have an open mouth. Let's start with the mouth actually. And let's pay attention to some of the simplicity of the mouth. Here we have this kind of open shape here on the right, so it's kind of not symmetrical. It's asymmetrical with more weight on the right side there. And what this kind of does is, you know, it kind of brings up that mouth a little bit more. Imagine if there was like a cheek line right there. And then there's a simple line right here for the lower portion there of that tongue. And you can kind of see how that's such a simple shape reads pretty well in terms of conveying that this character is somewhat smiling. Though, I'm sure that if we actually change the brow, right, we can see here how changing the brow would effectively change the character's expression as well. So paying attention again to these relationships are going to be so key in understanding expression. But let's go ahead and see now, speaking of brows, let's take a look at what this brow's doing. So here we have pretty thin brows, and I think the style of this show for Great Pretender has the character's brows are pretty thin, and they kind of swoop here. And you'll notice how it kind of follows a flow. You'll find this across every style really, right? Finding the flow of the features, but there's a flow here for the brows. And so you want to kind of keep some of that consistency. And even if you're doing an expression where, let's say, you know, the character has one brow raised like this, it can sometimes still feel nice to have a little bit of a flow there, you know, some rhythm for the brows. Because if you think about it, right, the brows are actually not two separate. Like, yes, they're two separate little fuzzy things above your eyes, but the brows are technically connected to the skin, the same skin, and similar muscles. And so even though you're raising one, it still affects the other. You get what I'm saying? And so by having some of that, it does help out. Now, that's not always a rule that can't be broken, but I think it's something to keep in mind that could help you create more flow with your designs. So something to think about there. All right, but let me go ahead and let me actually move this. Let me move this here. All right, so we got here the brows. I like how the brows look like. And as for the eyes, I mean, the eyes look pretty standard, right? Like we have here the lid of the eyes, these triangular shapes here. And something to pay attention to, I guess, would be noticing how the eye does shrink right here. If you see that right there, the eye does shrink a little bit, and that eventually leads to an illusion that the character's head is also tilted, right? So these are some of the tricks that artists will use, and especially in anime where lines are limited, right? There's a use of certain things that will start to make sense as you observe it more. And so I highly encourage any of you who are studying anime style, or any style for that matter, to again think not only about what you're seeing on the screen, whatever image you're seeing, but also think about what the artist's intentions could have been. Why did they make this eye shorter than the other? Is it because they just have a smaller eye? Or is it because they're trying to convey a particular thing? Same thing with the mouth and everything else, right? So intention, I think, is such a huge part of studying. And I will show you guys how I think about these things, but perhaps you guys will find, your own approaches as well. I'm here to help you guys think. All right. That's really what I'm trying to teach out here. Before last year, I used to teach you guys fundamentals, right? I used to teach you about the anatomy of the head and all of that stuff and the anatomy of the body. This year, I think really one of my main goals is to teach you guys how to think for yourselves, right? How to study for yourselves so that even though you're watching all these tutorials and stuff, at the end of the day, you can still walk out of it and actually practice and apply the things you're learning. And maybe in some ways, not feel so reliant on having to watch tutorials. Hopefully that makes sense. Well, we do have a question. Maybe let me see if there's any questions here. How do we call the more exaggerated expressions with the icons? Red cross, water drops, etc. We see in anime for comical purpose. Red cross. Oh, what do we call them? I think I don't know. I don't know I know what you're talking about. You're talking about like the little sweat drop right here, like this. Or that little angry, thing like that. I think those are just expression. I don't know what the technical term is. I think that's what you're asking me. I don't know. I don't know what those technical terms are for what those are described as. But yes, they are part of the expression. And those are more, I would say, graphic elements, right? More comical elements that you obviously wouldn't see. But even something like this, like if you think about this, where does this shape originate from, right? Where does this shape originate from? This right here, this little bunched up brow thing is actually just a interesting abstraction of the veins and kind of the forms of the head there. That I don't know if you guys have ever seen that one meme of that like guy who's like sitting on a chair and he's like this and his veins are popping out like the vessels and everything. I don't know what the meme is called, but I think you guys know what I'm talking about. Like a guy sitting on a chair and he's just like, it looks like he's about to like burst or something. It's really just an abstraction of that, right? It's an abstraction of that vein there. And so all of those things are really abstractions, though, obviously as you stylize it a little bit more, you can, simplify it, and then it becomes more of a common canonical thing, right? But that's even a good question to ask, is like, hey, why is it like that, right? Why do we do that for certain things? Or why do artists put here lines like this? And maybe the better question is like, yeah, they put lines like this and we know it's for blushing, but like, why did the artist choose to do it this way and not like this way? You might think it's arbitrary, but even asking these type of questions could be very valuable. I think the artist might have done the hashing this way because the form of the cheeks, the curvature of the cheeks is going this way. And same here. That's what I think. But again, all arbitrary, right? We have to kind of think about these things because that's where I think we learn the most. But yeah, we're gonna put the expression in, and we're gonna do. Let's leave the brows and let's leave the eyelids for later. But let's try to capture again that flow, and then we have that like side mouth that he has. What I like about this particular expression too is that the artist also did an off. You can kind of see it, right? It's like the mouth is off center, and what that ends up doing is it kind of pushes it. It kind of almost looks like he's kind of just like chuckling to the side a little bit, and I kind of like how it makes that actually feel a little bit more dynamic. That expression moving to the side there makes it not feel, what's the word? Realistic, but not in a bad way, right? Like it's cartoony, and it's supposed to be cartoony, but also it makes the character, I feel, come more to life. He's less static in his expression. Let's see. Wow. A lot of follows on the Twitch side today. Thank you for the follows, guys. Also a lot of follows on a lot of subs on the YouTube side. Let's see here. Just searched it up, and the expressive symbols are called Monpu. There you go, Monpu. I love it. Yeah, right. Like those expressive symbols have origins that are part of the body, right? They're abstractions that still had meaning. But sometimes as we kind of, use it over time and we see it so often, sometimes we forget, or sometimes we don't even question why things are the way that they are. Right? It's like one of those little fun facts. And I think the more that you start questioning everything around you, maybe this is like a life advice. This isn't even art advice, but the more you start questioning everything around you and your art and stuff, I think that's really where you'll find some awesome growth, because then you'll start to derive your own understandings for things. Am I doing critiques today? There is a pretty good chance that I won't, because I have a short stream today. If I were to ever do critiques today, or ever do critiques, it would probably be on a Saturday stream, just because I have more time Saturdays, So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be doing that. But anyways, we have here this expression. Let's add the hair, because I think hair is one of the big selling points of anime. Hair and eyes are usually like the bread and butter, Anime's bread and butter is usually hair and eyes. And this is not true for all animes, obviously. People are gonna be like, Kaycem, actually, my favorite anime has all bald characters. Like, all right, calm down. But I think from a generalization standpoint, eyes and hair are huge. If you guys want critiques, by the way, someone's asking right now, consider joining the after school art crew, where we actually have dedicated critiques, and I give everyone, I give as many people as I can who submit very thorough feedback. Like the people who joined in on the critique stream on Sunday, I hope I didn't, roast you guys too much, but I do give very in-depth feedback, very similar to what you would find if you were to work in the industry. Let's see. You like curly hair? Me too. It's just a hassle to have. Your character proportion video helped me out so much. Oh, that's awesome to hear, Lou. Bald animes when? I know, right? I'm sure they exist, all right? I'm sure they exist, 100%. I was wondering about the Loomis method. When drawing the lines across the face, do they curve around the circle of the head? They should. They definitely should, because as I've mentioned in the past, the head is three-dimensional. I'm not referring to the drawing of the head. I'm referring to the head in reality, right? The head in reality is three-dimensional. And so I think if you want to really represent the head as a 2D abstraction, it's also valuable to think about the head three-dimensionally. Now, obviously, that'll vary with style and stuff, but most styles will still consider the head three-dimensional. Even stuff like The Simpsons, right? Cartoon shows that are known for being a little bit more flat. If you've actually seen any of the artists who work on The Simpsons and see how they draw the head, if you've seen their character sheets, they'll draw them pretty much three-dimensionally. They'll think about the head as a cylindrical shape and the eyes as rounded forms, right? So even stuff like that will still consider things three-dimensional. But, there's obviously cases where that's not true as well, right? Like Peppa Pig. You want to draw that Peppa Pig style, that is going to be more, I think, abstractions and stylizations of things. But I'm not going to focus too much on the hair today, because today's stream is not dedicated to hair. So I'm just going to block in a rough silhouette. But if you guys want to learn about how I, for example, match other people's art styles, let me know. Let me know if that's like a video you guys would be interested in, like how to study other people's art styles and stuff, because it's a pretty common thing we have to do in the industry. Though I will say, even then, I still struggle with it. Like, it's one thing to copy an image, it's another to redraw redraw said character in different poses, different expressions. That requires a bit of in-depth understanding that we just don't have time for today. We're not gonna dive in on that today. But I think we got the gist of what we wanted, which was the expression breakdown. And I think his hair is a little too big. Actually, you know what? No, I think his head's fine, actually. It's his ears. Boop. There you go. But yeah, maybe we might do something like that. Where we like talk about it. Again, I'm not trying to do it exact. Like, today's stream is not, I'm not trying to copy this exactly, but I do want it to look somewhat like the character, because I do think that it is important to understand this particular style of expression relative to the rest of the face. And so if it doesn't even look like it, then we're probably not doing it right. There you go. That to me is like good enough, you know? We can definitely work more on trying to make it precise, but we're not trying, that's not the goal. The goal is not to try to copy today. So, you're so incredibly handsome. Anyways, have a great day. What the heck? Thank you. Did you know the narrator for Peppa Pig voices Hisoka from Hunter x Hunter and Mori from, what's BSD? That's interesting. What's your go-to traditional art media? Pen. Can you tell me what brush you use? I use my Gumroad brushes, which you can find here. You can find that on my Gumroad. I'm rizzed by chat. I know. Está bonito. Gracias. Gracias. Buen dia. There you go. Oh, Bung Do Stray Dogs. Oh, right. I haven't seen that one. Oh, my YouTube chat crashed. Oops. Okay, that sucks. Well, let's see. Are like wolf cuts and layers on hair hard to draw? I just want to draw myself and my hair isn't like wolf cut and it's always looking shitty. I think anything with layers has to be drawn in layers. And what I mean by that is you kind of have to simplify it a little bit whenever you're drawing hair. So if you guys want to see an example of that here, let me see if I have a good example of hair. I have so many drawings, I apologize. We draw a lot out here. Oh, maybe this one? Here you go. So you can imagine when I draw hair, I focus always on first the basic structure of the head. Then I try to look at some of the simplified shape of the head and try to break that down. And then I go in and add details afterwards. So for me, no matter what style of hair, whether it be curly, short curly, long wavy, straight hair, right? It's always a similar process of focusing on what are the core abstractions of the hair. And then from there, going in and actually breaking it down even further. So yeah, if you guys want to see this, I think this video might be on YouTube. I should it. I don't remember. I'm sorry. We do have a lot of videos. You have tips for one-eyed humanoid expressions? That I don't. That seems very niche, actually. I don't have that. Let's see. How's it going, Melissa? Welcome in. Do you have good method for what to focus on when converting an expression from realistic to simplified anime and back again? I kind of struggle with that. Oh, that's actually a fun idea. Okay, so imagine we take this expression, and you're saying, how do we take something like this that's stylized, and how do we apply that to, let's say, something that's more realistic, right? Let's do that, actually. I wasn't planning on doing that today, but I don't know. Would you guys be down to see that real quick? Like if I were to turn this to a more realistic style, or maybe not even this character, but just like take the expression and draw that more realistic. That seems like a really fun exercise, actually. Let's try that. What is the trick to simple two-tone shading? Shapes. Shapes are the key to two-tone shading. If you guys want to learn more about that, check out my YouTube live streams. I don't know. See, a lot of people don't know about this, but my live streams are actually saved on my channel under the live tab, and you'll find all of my tutorial videos there. And one of them is dedicated to shading in particular. And in that one, I actually talk about, I talk a good amount about how to shade, or at least how animes shade. Sorry, how in animation we shade using two-tone shading and all that stuff. This head technique here that you're seeing also, this is my new fancy schmancy technique that I've been using to draw heads, and I've been really enjoying it. I think I've been finding it to be very nice and quick to just kind of shorthand the head. So if you guys want to check that out, there's a more in-depth, I think the last stream we did covered that, but here's kind of that head structure, right? Okay. VOD watchers? Hell yeah, VOD watchers. Let's see. I never know what bits of the expression are most important to focus on to capture the emotion and feeling. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Let's go ahead and talk about that. All right, let's talk about how to actually take maybe a more stylized expression like this. And how does that maybe apply to something that's more, maybe like a semi-realistic, right? I'm not going to say like super realistic because that would just take a lot of time. But let's just say like a semi-realistic style, like a still stylized, right? Still very much in that cartoony-esque style, but like maybe something more like Castlevania, right? Like how would a Castlevania style inevitably take this approach here and kind of draw this one out? I think there's a lot of subtleties, but let's capture that main expression first. And oftentimes too, style is going to be dependent on many factors. But for example, maybe like right here, because it's a more heavy detailed style, we might get something like the nose, right? The nose now is going to get more prominent in a different style than maybe what we had before. And let me actually, I want to keep the same. I want to keep it the same. Yeah, why not? So we're going to do some of that. And a lot of the features are going to be the same. So again, when I talk about the brows and the eyes and the mouth, those should inevitably still be, you know, the same. But I think what'll also happen too is when you start drawing out a more semi-realistic style, you also have to think about how you have to kind of tone back a little bit on the expression, right? because the more realistic your style becomes, the less flexibility you have in terms of pushing that expression further. So you kind of have to keep that in mind when you are designing your characters. But maybe we'll add here like a little line for the eyes. Hard to say. Or maybe we might even add one for a wrinkle. Like, it depends on the character. Maybe he has like a little wrinkle there. And then we might do that mouth still. But maybe here for the mouth, because he's like laughing a bit, maybe we'll add like a line right here, right? Because it's the more, again, the more realistic it becomes, the more kind of detail you oftentimes show. But you still want to kind of limit it, right, to certain aspects. And then here we might see the lower mouth or the lower teeth there. Okay. But there you go. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's still a lot of the same core components of the face, except now we've maybe added a few subtle details, right? Yeah. Let me know if that makes any sense. Let me erase some of these. Mm-hmm. There you go. You should copy pasta this head and try out different hairstyles. I'm gonna do the hair. Do the hair in a more semi-realistic style. You were really overthinking it. I think that happens. Yeah. How do you draw fluid poses to not make the anatomy and the art itself look bleak and stiff? You know, I think that is gonna be. I think you can check out a video for that too. I'm sorry, I have so many videos. But I think generally speaking, the best way to make any pose not look stiff is to really incorporate gesture, right? We're not going to do a demo today because, you know, as I've mentioned, we got to limit our time today for the demos that we can, do. There you go. And I might actually make the mouth a little bigger, just a little bit, just to kind of show you guys a different style. And it's still similar, right? But it's just kind of a subtly more semi-realistic. All right. So let's go ahead, and I guess people are saying they want me to do a more realistic style. Here's what I'm going to do, because I'll make it easy for myself. I would just take this hair, right? And then I'm just gonna make it more detailed. That's really all it is, right? So a more realistic style here might have maybe more strands of hair. So let's do that. But that's really it. That's really all I'm doing. Nothing too crazy. I'm trying to find the right flow here. This inevitably became a a hair stream, but that's fine. I think it's sometimes fun to, you know, deviate from the tutorial a little bit, right? Have a little bit of fun. Let's see here. Can you do an animation stream? You know, I've been asked this a couple times, and honestly, I wish I could, but I don't think I can, to be honest with you. I think animation is hard, and I don't think I'm nearly good enough to be to be teaching animation. Like, yes, I've animated, but that's not my strong suit, if that makes any sense. And I also think it's really hard to teach animation because a lot of animation is tedious. And so I don't know, to be honest. I think I'd have to get a lot better at it, do it faster, and then I can teach it. I will say, though, that the way I learned how to animate for work was by really having a good grasp of three-dimensional form, right? If you can have a good grasp of 3D form and perspective, I would say those are like the two fundamentals that you really need for what's it called? The two fundamentals you really need for for learning how to animate, I would say form and perspective are like the two big ones. Okay, but I think you guys get the point, right? Like this, I don't want to spend too much time on this today because there's so much else we could do. But I hope this at least gives you an idea of what I'm talking about when it comes to expressions, and how even if you're trying to do something that's more semi-realistic, stylized, etc., a lot of the rules still apply. It's just a matter of, you know, tweaking these said rules to whatever style it is you're working on. All right, but there you go. Bam. Nice. We did a study, we did the expression, and then we did it in a slightly different style. Though I would argue this style is not that much different. Like it's still anime-esque. And I think a lot of that, again, comes from the hair. The hair does so much to make something look and feel more anime. Okay. Kaycem, who's your first anime crush? Probably somebody from Bleach. Bleach had all the baddies, to be honest. He just looks a little older. Yeah, I mean, again, it's like, it's still in that semi-realistic style. There's a few things that I think are different proportionally. Some of the main things you'll find is the neck is going to be different. The details of the mouth, additional details of the nose, and I think, you know, the level of detail for the hair. So it's kind of like a shonen versus seinen difference in detail, right? Yeah. So there's all of that stuff. Also, there's a lot of weirdos coming on here on the YouTube side, bro. We need some mods over on the YouTube side. Jeez, are we blowing up today on YouTube, guys? We're getting all the we're getting all the action today on the YouTube side. All the weirdos are creeping in. Let's see here. I feel like your style by default is a bit anime-esque in the sense that reality meets toony. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Twitch chat has to up their game. No, Twitch chat, you guys are fine. You guys are okay. It's not a competition on who has the weirder chat, all right? All right, so there we go. We had one expression locked in. Let's do another one. I really want to do one that's kind of more out there. Like, I think this one's a really fun one, and it might be a challenge to try to see if we can make this one a little bit more on the realistic side. Am I streaming on both platforms right now? Yes, I'm streaming actually technically in 3 places. I have 3 different chats, and so it's a little hectic. And if you guys are curious why I'm not reading some messages, it's because there's so much chatter going on everywhere. Whew. Don't listen to the YouTube creeps. Oh no, don't worry. I've been streaming for 4 years now. Stuff like that doesn't bother me. I don't waste my time. I don't entertain the weirdos out here. That's all they want. They're usually just some insecure person who needs a little bit of love, and so they go on the internet for attention. But unfortunately, we don't give love out here. We give art advice. And if you're not here for art advice, then what are you doing here? If you're not here for the art, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are you doing here? You're here for the dog. That's actually a legitimate statement. You're here for the dog. That's about it. Draw the dog then, yeah. Okay, let's do this expression because I think this is a fun one that is definitely a little bit on the more challenging side in terms of breakdown, right? Yeah, let me know if you guys like this type of stream too. I think for me, I don't get to really study this particular style of anime as often as I'd like. And so I wanted to kind of take some time today and really just kind of observe it and then maybe see what I could bring back to my own style, right? No love Kaycem. Yeah, what do you guys think this is? I am struggling with expressions when I draw a side view. Do I have any advice? Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it. Maybe it'd be better to ask you what your struggles are. You know what I'm saying? What are you struggling with when it comes to expressions? Let's see. Hey, Kaycem, how am I feeling today? I'm feeling great. I'm feeling awesome. Wow, so much chatting. Jeez. Is it hot where you are, or does your dog just prefer sleeping on the floor? It is hot. It's 95 degrees. 95 degrees Fahrenheit over here, guys. Jeez. What's going on? So let's pay attention to the flow of the brows again, right? This is so huge, especially the more you start to study style and expression. You'll start to learn that there's rhythms for a lot of these things, right? Look at that. It's a unibrow, but it flows. They connect to each other. This is one of the first things I learned when I took a class at a school called CDA. One of the first things I learned was about flow. The flow and the rhythms of the face, especially when it comes to expressions. Like, it's so huge. But look at some of the craziness of this expression. There's actually so much going on that I think you might not see at first glance. Like, look at how from the brows to the nose, look how squished that section is. Yes, a part of it is due to the head tilt, but a lot of it is also due to stylization, which then really scrunches. Like, it's almost as if he's scrunching his face so much because he's yelling that it's actually shrinking the proportions quite a bit, which then in turn also still gives us enough volume that it doesn't feel like we're breaking the volume of the head. So what do I mean by that? Imagine this right here as an egg shape, right? And this egg shape of the head, which is this character's head, like, let's say you were animating this character, right? There was an innate volume of this head right here. Now, this innate volume, pretty much when you're drawing it out, even though you're squashing and stretching the head, you don't want to change this volume too much, because if you do that, it no longer becomes the same character. And so what they did here, again, this is why I love studying this stuff, is they took the same volume of the head, they squished it, but what they did was they made it so that the facial features of the eyes, the brows, and the nose get pushed up more here, so that way they can exaggerate the mouth a lot more right here. I don't know if that makes any sense to you guys, if you guys get what I'm saying. They kept the volume here, but they scrunched the features to exaggerate it. You guys get what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a pretty high level technique. We're going to try to study it a little bit, okay? It's a high level. That's crazy. I didn't even notice that they did that until just now when you study it. Because you would think, like, yeah, you know, like the proportions are probably going to get warped if you make the mouth that much bigger, but no, they're doing some things. They're doing some techniques out here. These are some hidden secret sussy techniques. Man. Yeah, it's squash and stretch, but it's like taken to a whole other level. Okay, so there we go. We have that. Let's draw this out. I'm actually very excited to draw this one. It is witchcraft. It is 100% witchcraft. That is so true. So let's go ahead and draw out this head here. And again, you'll see what I mean when I actually draw this out, because if you take a look at it, right, the positioning of, let's say, the ears and all of that stuff, and the mouth, they're all about the same. But what they do here is they say, well, you know, actually, we're gonna squish those features, and so we're gonna like bring those eyes up a little bit, right? And this also adds to the effect of perspective, because there is gonna be, again, that head tilt that goes on here. But at the same time, they're doing a lot to shrink. Like, they're even shrinking the distance from the lower lip there to the chin. The real challenge is to take that expression and make it more realistic. Yes. Yes. Am I drawing everything on the same layer? Yes. Also doing that too. Do you also review other people's work? Yeah, you can actually, if you want to get your stuff critiqued by me and stuff, you can actually check out the After School Art Crew, where you will get, oh, hold on, that command doesn't work, I guess. Interesting. Oh, there you go. If you check out my Discord, there is going to be some info there on how to request feedback from me. And for some reason, my YouTube chat keeps breaking. Why? Is it just so much chatter today? Is there just so much people on the YouTube side? Super weird. I have a problem that I'm pushing by mistake some buttons with my hand while drawing. Oh, you might just want to disable some of the touch features. It could be that. I don't know exactly. I'm not tech support. So I don't know, you know, what's going on exactly with your stuff, with your situation, but there are ways to disable some of the features on the iPad. But anyways, here's the link to the Discord. I don't know why it's not working. Why the YouTube chat's being super buggy today. I think there might just be a good number of you people. Person said, I just lost connection. Do you also review others people's art? I don't know if you already answered my question. I did answer your question. I said you can take a look at this link here, which will have all the info on getting your stuff critiqued by me. And not only is it a critique, but it's in a way actually a form of mentorship. Yeah. And you know what? Maybe the connection here is not actually, maybe it's not me. Maybe it's YouTube. Maybe YouTube's having an issue today. Let's see. Out of context, but when do you know how to move to learning anatomy after practicing construction? I think once you feel good enough with the construction that, you know, you feel like you have some reasonable understanding of it, I think that's usually a good sign that you can move on to other topics like anatomy. Though personally, I always tell you guys, I've said this many times actually, that the fundamentals are things that you will never truly like finish learning them, right? You will only continue to learn more. And so I would say study a topic for like a given amount of time. Give it a set amount of time and then move on. Right? Study form, study gesture for like a month or something, and then move on. Go study something else. And then come back to it. And you'll continue to come back to it. And you'll continue to come back to it. And even after many years, even after working professionally, you will still continue to come back to it. So yeah. YouTube is having a day today. It might be YouTube. It might be the YouTube side, honestly. For you, it's all good. That's good to hear. Thanks for the subs, guys. My YouTube is running perfectly well. Enjoying the live so far. Okay, good. Do you also study anatomy to draw a person or animals? Yes, 100%. Yeah, definitely. And I actually have videos on that for those of you who are looking to study some anatomy and stuff. A large majority of my YouTube channel and all the videos I put out are actually dedicated to, surprisingly, or maybe not surprisingly, anatomy. I know recently this year, we haven't really done a lot of anatomy streams because, to be honest with you guys, I'm kind of tired of teaching anatomy. I'm kind of tired of that, Grandpa. I'm tired of it, Grandpa, but you know, I'm sure we'll get back to doing some anatomy streams and stuff again. But I think for me, I'm more invested in helping teach you guys how to study and how to study for yourself, right? So a lot of my streams now you'll find really are just showcasing methods and stuff that I've used to level up my own art and how you can do that for yourself. If you guys still want the, technical tutorials and stuff, you guys can find those on my YouTube channel. But otherwise, yeah, most of my streams these days are trying to they're here to help you guys draw your own characters and really equip you with your own tools to, for your own growth. It's like that whole fish thing. I could have given you a fish and taught you all the things, or I could teach you how to teach yourself. Which I personally think not a lot of artists are doing anymore because of the internet. I've talked about this many times, but I feel like, man, the internet has been a blessing and a curse, right? Because while it has given people such easy access to information and easy access to tutorials and all that stuff, I think it's also made a lot of people lazy. I think it's made a lot of people less critical thinkers, because it's so much easier to just be like, let me just pull up a tutorial. How do I draw a face? I'm not even going to go try to figure it out myself. Let me just look up how to draw hands. 3 easy steps. Easy hack for drawing hair, right? Put an F in the chat, guys, if you know what I'm talking about. Maybe you've done that yourself. Maybe you're guilty of that, right? You look up a tutorial of some artist and you're like, oh, how to draw hair. Let me look up on Instagram. Let me look up on Pinterest real quick how someone else did it. And you just assume that that's the way to do it, and you just copy it. We just copy this tutorial. We see this artist. We do that, and we just do it, and we don't think about it. We don't think about why it works. We don't think about how it relates to our own understanding. Maybe. Yeah, maybe that's relatable. Maybe it's not. I only ever speak from my own experience, right? This is something that I noticed that I was doing a couple years ago, and I was like, damn, wait a minute. Am I really improving as an artist if I'm not really thinking for myself, right? Because I have been in this situation. I don't know if this is relatable to you guys, but I've been in this situation in the past where I felt like I was in the study hell. What is the study hell? It's that feeling like you have things that you want to create. You got characters you want to draw. You got stories you want to make, but you feel like you're not ready yet. You feel like, oh man, I got to go study. I got to keep watching tutorials first. I got to learn anatomy first. I got to learn gesture first. I got to learn all these things first. And then I'll be able to do my thing, right? I'll be good enough to do my thing. But for now, I'm just going to keep studying. I'm in my little study phase. And it's okay to be in the study phase until you keep staying in the study phase and you don't get out of the study phase. Right? It's okay to practice. It's okay to study. But this is a quote that I said last stream, and I'm going to use it now, right? Did you become an artist to study, or did you study to become an artist? You get what I'm saying? You hear what I'm saying, chat? So, all of that is to say, that is what my streams are about, right? We're out here because I want to show you guys how I study, but then I also want to show you how I take my studies and actually apply them back to my own art, and how you guys can do the same as well. Ghetto ass, ghetto out here. Yeah, I know, man. I watched some Jujutsu Kaisen. Are you Gojo? Are you guys Gojo? Yeah, I know. You're either naturally gifted or you're not. I actually don't think, personally, I don't think being gifted in art has anything to do with it. Because I think with any skill, right, you can be blessed and gifted with an ability. Like, you could be 6'8", you could be extra tall, and you have the potential to be a great athlete, but it doesn't actually mean anything if you don't practice. And the same thing goes with art. I would say I was somebody as a kid who, yeah, when I drew as a kid, I maybe drew a little bit better than the average kid, right? But I'm gonna tell you guys now, I didn't practice nearly enough. I skipped a lot of the fundamentals, and by the time I got to the tail end of my high school, I actually felt like I hadn't learned anything because I was using so many hacks and tricks and tips and all of these things, and I didn't actually know how to draw anything for myself. I felt like if I didn't have a reference, my drawings never looked good. I felt like I couldn't come up with any of the ideas in my head. I felt very stuck, right? And I ended up losing my growth as an artist to the point where I quit. Some of you guys may not know this, but I actually gave up on art for about like 10 years. I used to be a software engineer. I worked as an engineer for 6 years because I gave up on art. My whole idea of being an artist after high school was completely over because I thought I wasn't good enough. Because I felt like I was so stuck after watching all the wrong things and trying to take all the shortcuts to try to improve as quickly as possible. Because let's be real, chat, put an F in the chat if maybe you feel a little guilty, right? You feel a little guilty about trying to speed run. You're like, oh man, I'm so behind. I gotta level up quick. I gotta grind. I gotta do this and that. You feel pressured to have to level up quickly because for some reason society and everything around you, AI, all of those things tells you, oh man, you gotta level up quick. And sometimes when you have that mentality, you end up taking shortcuts that actually take you 2 steps back. And this is something that I had to learn the hard way about what is the point, right? What is the point of trying to speed run art if it inevitably leads you to art burnout, imposter syndrome, giving up, hating your art? Like, what's the whole point of trying to speed run if you're not actually learning the things for the long run, right? You're trying to learn it for now, but it doesn't make sense. And I wish I had known this. I wish I had known this when I was younger, because I feel like I could have saved myself a lot of pain and suffering, and I wouldn't be yelling like this dude right now. I wouldn't be like, hey, because, you know, I fell for all those traps. That's why whenever I talk to you guys about any of these topics, I'm always talking from my own personal experience, right? I'm never ever, I don't know. I share these things because these are things that have happened to me. I'm not here to roast anybody or anything. And if you are feeling roasted, it's probably just because you were in the same boat as I was. So I apologize if I make anyone feel bad. I'm not trying to. It's just my experience and things that I wish I could have told myself when I was younger, which I'm sure a lot of you have said to yourselves too, right? Like, how many of you have told yourselves like, oh man, if I had just kept drawing, if I had just drawn a little bit more when I was younger, if I had kept it up, I bet I'd be a much better artist. Oh man, who has fallen for that trap? Oh, put an F in the chat for that one. I think some of you might be young in the chat still, but for some of you older artists out here, like myself, I think you guys can relate to that statement, right? Some of you in the chat are still pretty young. Don't tell me your age. I don't want to know. I don't care. But I know that there are some of you who are like, yep, if I had just kept drawing a little bit more, I bet I'd be so good. But you know what? That is a trap in itself as well. Some people say, but isn't that true, Kaycem? I lost so much time. Let me tell you guys something from a slightly different perspective, because I used to believe this. I used to believe this for the longest time, that I had wasted so much time, right? As I mentioned just now, earlier, that I used to be a software engineer, right? I had given up on art, hadn't drawn for about like 10 years, 6 to 10 years effectively. And so the question is like, did I waste my time? Wasn't it a waste of time? Let me give you guys a different perspective, okay? How many of you in the chat would say that you like art? Now, I know some of you out here are going to be like, man, Kaycem, I hate art. You're supposed to hate your art, you know, but like, in all honesty, put a W in the chat if you genuinely like to create art, right? At some point, you've loved art. Put a W in there. You're watching my streams now, so I would assume that you guys like art. Now, here's the thing. Isn't it kind of weird that even though we like art, there are still many times where we hate art as well. There are many times where we feel not motivated to want to draw, right? Sometimes we feel like, oh man, I don't want to draw. Like, I want to draw, but I don't know what to draw, or I feel stuck, or I feel nervous, whatever have you. I'm sure a lot of you have felt this way at some point with your art, right? There are some days where you're just like, man, I don't know what's going on. I wanted to draw something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I have my sketchbook, it's blank. Or maybe you feel like you're not growing, you're plateauing, whatever have you. And so thus you draw less. So it almost kind of in this weird way, it's like, why is it that we love art, but we have a hard time doing things like practicing regularly, right? The whole building discipline and stuff. And for me, growing up, again, this is all just my personal take, right? Am I still working on software development? Nope, I'm a full-time artist right now. I work in the animation industry right now. But going back there, for me, when I was younger, I used to only draw when it felt good. And I think a lot of that comes from me thinking that art was like this emotional thing, this creative thing, all of that. You know, how many of you guys can relate to that, right? That feeling like, oh man, I create and it makes me feel good. Thus, when I feel good, I'm going to create. But if I don't feel good, it's harder for me to create or whatever. Like, I always tied it to this more emotional side and less of a logical thing. And maybe this is also society too, right? Society also tells you like, oh, if you're a logical person, you do math, you do science, you do this. You're a creative person, you do this, right? It's kind of weird how they almost separate the two things. And yes, there are parts of the brain that do different, blah, blah, blah. Who cares about that? For the most part, society has made it so that those are two separate things. And so I used to think that way. And so when you start thinking that way, where you start to feel like, oh, you only draw when you're motivated, you only draw when you're feeling good, it makes it hard to level up. And I'm going to explain why. Think about it this way. When do we feel good about our art? Most of the time, we feel good about our art when the art turns out the way we wanted it to, right? If you want to try to draw something and it starts to turn out bad, the general instinct is, oh, it turned out bad, we don't want to draw. And that is how a lot of artists get stuck. That is how a lot of artists get in the plateau, because they have a mindset that because they want to draw when it feels good, they want to then avoid doing bad drawings. And what ends up happening, guys, hear me out, when you try to learn a new thing, a new fundamental, a new technique with art, you want to challenge yourself. Chances are the drawings are not going to turn out good the first time around. But you need to do those things to level up. So you see the predicament that I'm presenting here? If you are in a mindset where you only draw when it feels good, where you only draw when your art turns out good, you're going to never actually grow, because your mind will say, oh, don't do that. Don't draw the stuff that you're supposed to draw to learn, because it's bad. It's going to suck. The art's not going to look good. So just stick to the same thing. And then a lot of artists come to me and they say, Kaycem, why am I in the art plateau? I don't understand. I've been drawing for a whole year and I felt like I haven't grown. Damn, put an F in the chat if you know what I'm talking about, guys. You ever said that to yourself? I've been drawing for I draw so many days, I draw so many hours. Why am I not growing? What's going on? I see everyone else on the internet, on social media growing. Why am I not growing? But at the same time, you look at your art and you're drawing the same things, right? You're afraid to try other things, try new things. You get what I'm saying, chat? So going back to what I was saying, was not doing art for a whole 6 to 8 to 10 years a waste of time? I used to think so. But then I came to this big realization. When I was working as a software engineer, I'll be honest with you guys, I didn't really like software engineering. Like, yeah, I was good at it. You know, I knew how to do things, but I personally didn't really enjoy software engineering. And I definitely didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed doing art when I was younger. And despite not enjoying it, I realized that despite that, I would still wake up every day. I would still work for 8 hours every day. I would still get the job done. And I didn't even like what I did. And in that moment, I realized that I built discipline. Now, how many of you in the chat out here are maybe studying a topic in school that you don't really care about? Maybe you're doing a job that you're not particularly as interested in compared to art. And yet, despite all of that, you're still doing those things. When that realization came to me, I realized, wait a minute, if I can do software engineering 8 hours every day and do that, and I don't even care about it, I can probably do the thing that I actually care about and build discipline around that. You get what I'm saying? And so was it a waste of time? Maybe, but I actually don't think so. I think I needed to take a break from art for 6 years so that I could build the discipline in myself to then come back to art and do it in a way that actually is sustainable, healthy, and make me progress the way that I want to progress, and not get into that plateau of being in my headspace and only drawing when I'm happy, only drawing when the art turns out good, and never actually pushing myself in the direction I need to go because it's uncomfortable or challenging for me. So there you go. Are you wasting your time? For those of you who typed in F earlier, when you said that if you had drawn more, you would have been a better artist, maybe you would have. Or maybe you would have quit sooner. You don't know. But what I will say is that I don't think everything you've done now has been a complete waste of time. Okay, there you go. That's that's my little Tuesday spiel of the day. You guys know me. Every Tuesday we could do a little rant out here. I just wanted to say that, put that out there, because I have a feeling that this is a common, is a common mindset a lot of us have, right? Welcome to my Tuesday rants. Also, someone earlier was asking if I still work as a software engineer. No, so I don't. For those of you who are here for the first time, by the way, welcome in. My name is Kaycem. I am a Filipino art streamer based out in Los Angeles, California, and I also work professionally in the animation industry, having worked for studios that have done stuff like Castlevania, Legends of Vox Machina, and more. And on my streams, we, like to cover things from anime, animation. We also like to do some educational stuff, maybe life advice stuff. I don't know. And so if you're into any of those things, anime, animation, art, life, my dog, where's my dog? Do leave a follow out here. Like and subscribe if you're watching from YouTube, and all of that usual, the usual spiel. It made me feel a lot better about my struggles. Hell yeah. And again, I wish these were things I said to myself. Oh, I wish I could have said these things to myself when I was younger, but I think I needed to. I think I needed to go through this pain, because if I didn't go through this pain, well, one, I don't think I'd be the artist who I am today. I don't think I'd be as disciplined as I am today. But two, I probably wouldn't even be a streamer. Like, isn't that crazy to think? I wouldn't even have thought about streaming on Twitch ever. So I guess. But here's what we're going to do. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take this expression now, and we're going to try to draw this one in a more semi-realistic style. That's kind of what we've been doing today. Great suggestion from someone in the chat. So we're breaking down these stylized expressions. We're trying to understand why they work and how they work. Now, let's go in and let's see if we can actually apply this to a more, a slightly more semi-realistic face structure. I think this will be possible. I just think it'll be very difficult. I think it'll be very difficult. Thank you for the kind comments, by the way, Dee Dee out here. Be the person your younger self needed. Hell yeah, 100%. You finally caught it live and I made you cry. Thanks for tuning in for the live streams. I needed that rant from others too. I often find myself thinking things, but hearing from other people really makes it different. 100%. This is why, you know, people have memed me about this on my YouTube comments when I talked about how community is so valuable. And people have been like, man, this guy's just trying to promote his Discord. This guy just wants more viewers. And I always say this, but like, you guys don't have to watch my streams. You don't have to join my Discord. But when I tell you guys that being a part of a community is huge, I just speak again from personal experience, because if I didn't have you guys, if I didn't have my Discord community and to share my experience and to hear about your guys' experiences, there probably would have been many times where I just would have given up on art. Because oftentimes we as artists think that art has to be a solo endeavor, right? And it kind of makes sense, because when you do art, you're kind of doing it alone in your room, right? Oftentimes, a lot of us start art because we're isolated, right? Maybe we have a little doodle, we're bored in class or whatever, or we're daydreaming, whatever the reasons are that got into art. The thing is, art is usually a pretty solo thing. You do it in your room, right? You sit down, you kind of just draw, you get stuck in your headspace. But that doesn't mean that your art journey has to be isolated as well. Because I found that when it's isolated, it's so much easier to get that echo chamber in your head, right? Telling yourself you suck, telling yourself that everyone is better than you and that you're not growing fast enough for whatever purpose or reason. It's very easy to get there. And so when you're a part of a community, you can kind of learn and see like, wait a minute, everyone's thinking that way. Again, you don't have to join my streams. You don't have to join my Discord. There are many other people out there, many other communities. It doesn't even have to be online. Try to take a class. Try to find some people in your neighborhood if you can. I just think the online stuff is so much easier. I personally, I don't like talking to people IRL unless I have to. So yeah. I don't know about you guys. I know people who love chatting with strangers. You know, you go to like a Trader Joe's type of thing, and there are people there who will chat with like the employees at Trader Joe's or whatever. Nah, I'm just there to buy groceries. Okay. I'm just going to go to the grocery store. I'm going to buy my stuff and I'm going to go home. I don't want to talk to you. Don't ask me about my day. I'm just doing my thing, please. But there are some people, I see it all the time, people who are chatting it up, and I'm just like, what? That can't be me. That can't be me. I've been wondering, but do you have any boot camps or anything before 2022? I did not. No boot camps. 2022 was the first time I ever made a boot camp. And it was, again, the lore behind it was because I wanted to start working in the industry. And so I made something for myself that I thought hopefully would, you know, help me level up just a tad bit. But before then, I was just trying to figure things out as an artist. Somebody had a question for me earlier, which was, was there any time in my art journey where I lost money and I was like stressed about money? Well, first of all, I'm still stressed about money. I work hard every day. As you guys know, I work about like 12 hours every day because I effectively have 2 jobs, right? I have my content creating stuff that I do with you guys, but then I actually have my everyday industry stuff that I do as well. But before then, there was a time when after I quit my job as a software engineer, those first 6 months were pretty brutal. I I had quit my job as an engineer and I thought that, you know, everything would be good. Like, oh, easy peasy. I'm just going to make money. I'm just going to have commissions, right? I'm going to find people and this and that. And I'm going to be making money as a freelance artist. But I did not actually plan things out. I didn't realize how hard it would be. And I ended up losing a lot of money. I didn't make any money that the whole like half of that year. I was really just losing money. But it was a learning experience for sure. And it made me think about like what my actual intentions were as an artist, right? Oh yeah, by the way, for those of you guys wondering what we're doing now, I'm basically taking this expression and I'm trying to draw it in a more semi-realistic style, just to kind of show you guys what I think about here and how to maybe bring some of the things that we're learning back into your own style, right? So here, this is effectively my style. This one right here on the right, this is kind of the style of the show that we're breaking down. Great Pretender here. This is also my style too, which is, I think I would argue, pretty semi-realistic in nature. But we're going to try our best here. We're going to see. It's also so interesting because I've noticed that I do my eyelids and my eyes like this, but this artist does their eyes like this. This is why I love studying style, because this one right here is bent boom, boom, with the lower portion there, the lower third on the outer part. But I like to do mine on the inner third there. So maybe I'll actually try what they're doing. It's so interesting of a concept to me. You love that style so much. Which style? Thank you. I don't know which one, but whoa, so many people subscribing on the YouTube side. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. How long have I been in the industry? Not that long. I would say about 2 years almost. Almost, yeah. Almost about 2 years, actually. Things are coming up. But yeah, for those of you who are curious, I actually have a YouTube video where I talk a little bit about how I went from software engineer to working professionally in the animation industry, because what was I going to say? Yeah, I quit my job in 2021. I quit my job in 2021, and then I was a freelancer for all of 2022. And then I kind of was like, man, I don't want to do freelance anymore. I want to work for a studio. I want to actually like work on some animations and stuff. And then that's when I started to, what's it called? That's when I started to actually practice a little bit, build out a portfolio. And then I was able to get a job, which I'm very thankful for, by the way, because as you guys may or may not have heard, the state of the animation industry is a little rocky right now, and I feel really bad for many artists who are trying to, get into the industry and break into the industry. I still, to this day, I still don't know how I got lucky. Like, I think for me, I think I got lucky because I'm a pretty visible person on the internet. Like, you know, I'm on social media. I'm on the whole Twitch thing. But if it wasn't for that, I don't know. I don't know how I would have gotten a job. I think because people knew who I was, people considered me. But you know what? I did do a lot of things, from going to conventions and putting my name out there and networking. So I did do all of that. You know, I did a little bit of that, right? Would you ever give a presentation of your portfolio? Yeah, I would. I need to make a new one because my portfolio, this is an unfortunate thing, but my portfolio used to be hosted on Adobe, but because of all the little drama and hoopla that was going on with Adobe, I canceled my Adobe subscription and I forgot that my portfolio was hosted on there. And so now my portfolio is gone and I need to make a new one. My portfolio is just straight up gone. Yeah, so I just need to make a new portfolio. Oops. But yes, I will eventually make one, especially when I need it. Put yourself out there. You know, I used to hate putting myself out there, because I used to think it was like such a, like I was kind of selling out almost. I don't know if you guys feel the same way, like about social media. Like sometimes in the past, it almost felt like I had to, like, you know, like, man, do I have to start dancing on TikTok to get viewers, to get people to notice my art and stuff? And it almost felt like a chore to have to do social media. But I think recently I've been thinking about social media not as like, oh, trying to promote myself to other people or whatever, but really instead I've been trying to think of it more as like a way to just share my process and to share my art journey to people who otherwise may not have known about me. And I think especially in this day and age of AI and all of that stuff, sharing who you are as an artist and sharing the humanity in your work, I think will start to become more and more valuable. This is, by the way, this is a really fun exercise. I think I will do this more often on streams. Do you guys like this type of stuff? Like I take like a more stylized expression or something like this, and then we break it down, and then I show you guys how to maybe translate it to a different style. This is actually, for me, this is surprisingly really fun. I did not think this was going to be this fun, but this whole stream has gone by really fast, man. Let's do the hair. I'm gonna do the technique that I did earlier, which is the copy pasta technique, and then just redesign the details. Should I do that? No. I'm gonna redraw it this time. We have some time. I'm gonna redraw it completely from scratch. You like everything that I do on stream? Thank you, Jazzy. I appreciate that. What do I think about Kara? I mean, I use it to some degree, but I don't use it as frequently as I like. I think it's a program, you know, like it's like a program like any other. Or not a program, it's a software. Not software, it's an app. There you go. It's an app. I have one. If you guys want to follow me on Kara, it's just the same name, Kaycem. I'm basically Kaycem everywhere. Just look for the yellow icon, because there are a bunch of other Kaycems, and I'm not those Kaycems. I am Kaycem with the yellow icon. Hey Kay, does your iPad ever get really hot if you draw for hours? Yeah, and the trick is about two things. One, I lower the brightness of my iPad to about, I'll show you guys, about 60%. So that makes it not too hot. And then the second thing is I also use this stand, which has an opening in the back. And so that way the cool air kind of comes out and disperses from the back, and it's never too hot. The man's hacking. Who, me? What's the first thing you should learn about anatomy? I think it obviously depends, but I would personally say that starting off with the head is probably a good place to start, because the head is a pretty common, part of what you're going to draw. Like 98% of the time when you're drawing a character, you're going to be drawing the head. And so it's, I think, really valuable to understand the anatomy of the head first. And then from there, you can start to work your way into connecting the head to other components of the body and trying to then figure that out too, right? But yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's any like exact right way. Like, I think if you want to focus on the torso first, and because you want your characters to be really buff, sure. You do you. Do what makes you happy with your art. and do what makes sense to you as well. Because again, not everyone maybe draws heads, or maybe you like to have a more stylized head, but you want like a realistic body like that. That sounds kind of cool. Sounds kind of dope. Thanks for your advice. I've never really drawn when I was angry, and I really see the difference when I put my emotions into the art. It happens for sure. I used to draw in bed and put my iPad on my pillow. Bruh, it's hot. Hey, be careful. You might start a fire. You got to be careful with that kind of stuff. I don't think that'll actually happen. I don't think a fire will actually happen, but you never know. Let's see. If you lower your brightness, doesn't that affect your eyes? Not if you don't lower it too much, I think you'll be okay, right? I personally don't try to use my iPad at full brightness. Like, I just feel like that's an eye scorcher. You guys seen that one SpongeBob meme where it's like that one guy's like, my eyes? No way, man. I'm not doing that. Especially because I draw for like 8 to 12 hours. And so I could just not imagine myself staring at a screen at full brightness for that long and not have my eyes feel cooked. I also take breaks, right? So when I say 8 to 12 hours, that's not 8 to 12 hours straight. Like, I'm not insane, guys. You know, I take breaks as well. I eat lunch, I eat dinner, I take my dogs on walks. But for the most part, it's that time frame. But yeah, this is, I would say, the more realistic style, I think, for this character. I really enjoyed this exercise today. This was surprisingly really fun. I don't know. I'm always kind of, you know, every time I go on stream with you guys, half the time I don't know what I'm going to do. Half the time I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm always like, all right, let's just see, you know, let's see what happens. And then we'll kind of wing it, right? But this one was a banger stream. Trying to find these little strands to break up. Like, I think for these like remaining strands, these are just going to be loose hairs. Like, we don't have to actually do all the details for these. Okay. Not too shabby. Do you ever want to do your own comic or animation? Yeah, at some point, for sure. I would love to. I think once I have a little bit more time, like, I think some of my goals is I want to get to a place where I can sustain myself just through content creating and, you know, doing these live streams and stuff with you guys by itself. Then that way I can kind of wean off away from having to work for a studio. Not to say I don't like working for a studio, but I think if I realistically want to work on my own projects and all of that stuff, I just need more time, and I just don't have that right now because most of my time is spent on this, right? Like, even my free time, like, you can ask you can ask anybody that knows me in person, and they will tell you that I literally do nothing except draw. Like, and I love it. I love to draw, right? But if I want to do my own thing, I need to kind of give up on some other things. Yeah. Kaycem, do you use Photoshop for work? I made the switch to Clip Studio. I don't really use Photoshop. I use either Procreate or I use Clip Studio. But there you go. Wow. We did we did this expression here. It looks great. He looks bald, and then we added the hair, and then the hair really, you know, adds a lot to the character. But you can kind of see here how, you know, even with subtle style changes, I think we can still get away with pushing that expression a little bit more, right? Like, even though this is a semi-realistic style, I would say it still holds up pretty well, and it follows a lot of the same principles that we did with the stylized study. I just wish we did more. It's always hard to do. It's always hard to do more. Maybe if I'm not streaming, I can probably knock out like 4 of these as opposed to just 2. Maybe I'll do some off stream as well. Keep him bald. I already merged the layer. I'm sorry. For animation, can you start with knowing and fully Can you start without knowing and fully understanding how to draw? Yeah, I think so. Because you can draw like a ball, a bouncy ball technique. I saw this way of rendering. It was unique. It was done by Mark Brunet. It's kind of block, but also smooth. I will send the video link for that. I don't know what you're referring to, but Mark Brunet is a pretty dope artist. He's been at it for a minute. He's one of the staples of, I would say, the art community. Guy's crazy how he uploads tutorials. I don't know how he does it. I would go insane personally. I mean, I stream I stream twice a week, and I teach I teach twice a week, but I don't know. I can't imagine myself making edited YouTube videos once a week. I enjoy just doing live streams, and you know, that for me is my wheelhouse. I love live streaming. I love chatting with you guys and just doing all that. Oh, you know what's interesting too that we didn't cover? The shading. There's some shading going on here. Let's do that really quick, because I would shade differently also. So something to pay attention to is that even shading can be stylized, right? Like, what I really like about this artist and the approach that they took to shading is they really just blocked the shading there and used a cast shadow. I'm assuming, like, imagine this was like blinds or something, right? But they just really used a cast shadow to really emphasize that section there of the mouth. But if we were to do it more realistic, let's actually go over that really quick. And this should also be in shadow, but maybe they didn't do that. It's fine. That's okay. Like, they didn't even shade the back section there. That's so interesting to me. But if I were to do this, I would probably shade this a little differently than how they would shade it. So let me show you how I would shade this character. Let me also move those eyes back. Because I would have shaded it for a similar style of shading that emphasizes more on the what's it called? That shadow blocking in there, that face. I'll still do the same thing just to match the composition. But I would also, I mean, would there be shadow right here? I think there would be. I would shade the inner portion of the mouth. I still would shade the under portion there of the jaw. And then I would also shade, personally, I would have shaded the back here too. But you know what? I think it's because the hair, no, I would have shaded that. I guess it depends, because if the lighting is coming from here, then yeah, this area might not be shaded as much. And instead, I'd probably soften that shading just a tad bit. But I would still shade a little bit, right? Like for that inner portion right here. I think that might be what it is. I think the lighting is coming from the left, or sorry, from the right, and thus hitting that section of the hair. But it's a type of light that just kind of is a beam or a block. So it's kind of, you wouldn't even see this shading here like that. I would still see some shading here though. Anyways. Oh, it looks like my YouTube chat disconnected again. What's going on with YouTube today, man? Let's see here. Any questions in the chat I might have missed? Scrolling through here. Kaycem, do you, let's see, life hack. If you draw traditional, digital artists flip their canvas to make sure things look right. If you want to do that, just take a picture. Oh yeah, 100%. That's a nice solid way. Really quick, YouTube guys, are you still here? Hello? My YouTube chat got disconnected again. I don't know what's going on. I think it's like a bug or something going on today with the YouTube chat. Still kicking? Okay, that's good. That's good. I don't know what happened there. This is the third time today on stream that YouTube chat keeps getting disconnected for me. Nice. You guys are good. All right. Well, I think this is a good place to close out the stream. So let's go ahead and just do a quick little recap. We'll do it for YouTube, you know, the YouTube algorithm, but we'll also do it for YouTube Shorts. All right. Let's do a quick one. All right, guys. So here we go. All right. If you're trying to look to study expressions and you've got these more anime styles, here are some of the things that you can look for. First, pay attention to the rhythm of the brows right here and see how they flow together. Then see how the relationship of the brows and the eyes and the mouth are. Notice right here for this expression how the brows and the eyes are really going to get squished together because we're going to have that expression of the mouth pushing up. Right? And so you can kind of see that right here. If you break it down, here's me kind of redrawing that. And then here's me applying that to maybe more of my own style. You can do a similar example here as well with the more smiley face, but hopefully that helps. There you go. Little YouTube thing. But all right, guys, I'm going to say bye to the YouTube chat, and then people on Twitch, don't go anywhere just yet because we're going to go raid somebody. All right. But say bye to YouTube. Bye. And then we're going to head off to work. Bye, guys. See ya guys later. Bye, YouTube side. People in the chat type bye, YouTube. Bye, YT. People say bye to Twitch as well. How do I stop this? I forgot. I think this